Communication skills for men in relationships. I'm going to give you some points today that have really helped me improve my communication skills in my relationships in life. Welcome back to the Men's Mental Health Podcast. Glad to have you with me today. So I thought this is an important one. And when I say relationships, now a lot of this will refer to things like dating, romantic relationships, obviously, because that's a huge one that reflects a lot of things back to us. It's the area where the most pleasure but the most pain can come from. I remember Tony Robbins saying, and I think that's been very true in my life. But also other relationships like your friends and families as well. And yeah, I'm not a relationship coach. I never pretend I am. But I just like to share my own experiences as I do on these podcasts. So I want to give you 5 tips because I know lots of men struggle with communication relationships, and I have, like, at times I've not expressed who I am or my needs or my wants in fear of being rejected or someone either like no longer wanting to date me, or maybe it's like a friend falling out with me or a family member disapproving of me. So totally been there. And I can remember like a time, I can think of a couple of instances in different ones where like I was with someone and I was almost scared to say what I wanted because this individual, a beautiful individual, and I never want to, I find when you have resentment or anger towards someone, it actually builds up in you. So I released that. And I could understand this individual's hurt when I look back now, but I was like walking on eggshells, or it felt like landmines, to be honest. And I therefore could not communicate who I was and what I wanted in fear of loss. And I completely lost myself. And I felt crap about myself because I damaged my relationship myself because I wasn't able to be me. Fast forward to where I am now, I can completely express who I am. I can say my vulnerabilities, not all the time, not like crying all the time, but like, just kind of say, this is something I'm working on. This is how I'm feeling. I'm processing it at the moment. And just be me. And that communication is vital. And it's appreciated from the other side as well, I find, when it's the right person, right? And I've also been scared to communicate to family members in the past. Friends are pretty good. I can't really think of many instances for a while where I've not been able to say something to a friend. Maybe there's I didn't give them the hard truth, but that's not what they needed in the moment. When, like, I won't say I agree with something when I don't with a friend, so that's good. I know some people do. But I can think with family members, like, I've been scared to kind of say it because, like, my attachment to them has been really, really strong. I was scared I have spoken up my truth, but it's scary, right? But now I'm in a place where, yeah, I'd take courage to say and share some certain things, but I'm true to myself a lot more than I used to be. And therefore, the relationship with myself has determined my relationship with other people and who I attract into my life as well. So here are 5 tips I wanted to share with you in terms of communication skills, because I know it's something people struggle with. Number 1 is know your negotiables and non-negotiables, or your non-negotiables, let's say that. And what I mean by that is there can be some things, and the list can change, right? But just get down on paper, and you can write in your phone notes. I like to write down on my phone so I have things to access. So you can do either way. But it might help getting it down on paper, physically writing it out first of all. But like, what is it that's a non-negotiable in your life? Like, what crosses your line and what doesn't? Like, maybe if someone like teases with you or banters about a certain subject, that's okay and you find it fun. But if someone just brings you down and says a certain thing about you, that's not acceptable. Often I've been in the point where it's like, is that something I tolerate or not? And then I think about it and it builds up and I just push it away. Now to a point, I can think of an example, like a point where people like kind of indicating that maybe I'm stupid or something like that. Like, if I do something silly or mess up, I'm fine with people jumping around that. But like, if someone says something that indicates that I'm stupid or is calling me that or something like that, that's not acceptable for me. I was in a pub with my friends when was this? About a year and a half ago. And we were having a good chat after football, right? We weren't like heavily drinking. We just had a couple and that kind of thing. And then they said something to me about, we were joking with each other and it was fine. And then they said something that was over the line to me. And I went, that's not acceptable. I don't appreciate that. And as a result, they all kind of went quiet and apologized. And then we had a good conversation rest. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to behave like that, but I knew my boundaries, right? So knowing your non-negotiables, first of all, just writing them down to yourself and then living that bit by bit and communicating them is key. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and share of the world with all your non-negotiables, right? For me, I know that in dating, relationships, and the kind of the more intimate romantic area, that I like regular communication. I'm not talking about every minute of every day because I'm focused on my mission, on my work, all those kind of things, and my other social life and things like that, as well as obviously the girl when I'm dating someone. But it's like, I do appreciate like messages every day. That's a non-negotiable for me. That is really, really key for me. I've been in the past where it's like every few days or kind of like, oh yeah, sorry, I've been away from my phone. That's like not acceptable for me. And that's okay if someone's there and they're that kind of person. That's no judgment, but that's not what I want, right? So knowing your non-negotiables is really, really key in all your relationships, just writing it down. So you can't communicate it if you don't know it, right? Get it conscious down. Number 2, live those things. So if you're wanting, and I'll give an example where I was really stupid with this in the past, but we learned in life, right? You've got to live what you talk about. Like, I see this with women looking for things in guys that they're not living, and I see of guys asking for things in women that they don't live. I know obviously you can have same sex or different genders and different equations in this, but like, for example, and I've been guilty of it, right? I've seen women who go, well, I want a guy who like works on himself, who is really kind to me, who's really positive, and he's got so much ambition in life. When like they're miserable, they moan about things, they bitch about people. It's like, how do you expect to attract a guy if that's where you're living from, right? It's like, when I meet a guy like that, everything will change. No, I've learned that you've got to live where you are now, right? Guys are like, oh, I just want to find a good quality woman. And I've been there. I've been like, I want to find this woman who's really like secure. She really like knows what she wants. She's like, not she's going to be 100% perfect. Nobody is. And I'd like had that down, and then I've been in absolute emotional chaos, like looking back inside. And then like I attracted a woman who seemed great on the surface, and then actually there was some stuff she hadn't dealt with because I hadn't dealt with my own stuff. Life is a mirror that I've learned, but when I've realized that, it's really empowering. All right. So live what you want. Like, and going back to my 20s, I attracted someone in who was beautiful, like amazing, like on the surface. And this is going back, a few years. And it's like, I was like, oh, I'm a bad texter. And she was like, I'm a bad texter as well. And then actually what I wanted deep down inside, but I wouldn't admit to myself, was regular conversation and chats, and then see each other each week and those kind of things. But I wouldn't own that. I wouldn't admit that to myself. I was like, I'm cool, yeah. And I was like, I would text her stupidly every 2-3 days, and she would text me every 2-3 days, and it was a stupid little game that you go on and you learn and you mature from this kind of stuff. But it was insecurity inside. I'm just being honest with you. It's something I've learned from. But it's like, I can't expect like to find a woman who's a good communicator if I'm a bad communicator. So I've learned from that. Now, when I really am into someone, as I am right now, I'll share that with you, I will express that to her. I will, not every minute of every day I'm like, oh, I'm madly into you and that kind of thing. But like, I'll express how much I admire about her, like what is so amazing about her, like how grateful I am, and those kind of things, because that's how I feel and that's where I live from. But you can't, and some people, and like what I've realized, that the wrong like woman would be like not be able to take that in and maybe avoid it. I've seen that as well. But like, you've got to live from a place of what you want as well. You've got to live your desires, not just hope for things that you're not living. Something I learned from John Wineland in the book From the Core as well. Great teacher. Highly recommend checking that out as a man. Number 3, in terms of communication, this goes on to a bit more like building the skills, is, and also live what you want in terms of what you want from your friends and family as well. That applies. I've started talking more about the romantic sense, which is very, very true for, but also applies to your friends. Obviously your family, you're born with them, but your friendship groups more in that respect. Develop all your skills, your communication skills. We're addicted to phones, most of us, let's be honest. I know I've got to work on it, right? And we can get into this texting mode, and it's like, this communication is great. And then you meet someone, whether that's dating or in friendship, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm struggling to have a conversation here. It's not quite right. And that's because I found I've needed to develop my communication skills in all areas. So don't just rely on texting and be like, this is going great. Like whether it's dating someone or whether it's like, or you're just like catching up with a friend, because actually talking to someone's key. That's why dropping in voice notes and things like that are really, really good from time to time, but in-person or Zoom interactions are even better, right? Obviously in-person's the best one for me personally, but work on all your communication skills when you're out with people, like speaking to the barista for coffee, like saying, good morning, how are you? I know I need to catch myself at doing that more, but speaking to people in environments when you're around people, you don't have to talk to every random stranger, but the more you can practice your communication skills, the better they're going to be in general, right? Number 4, your identity. This is really, really critical. Human beings have a need to be consistent with how we define ourselves and our identity. It's one of the strongest forces. This is a Tony Robbins quote. I've been talking about Tony Robbins a lot again recently, even though I've not been listening to him, but done so much of his stuff, it's ingrained in me, which is good, by the way. But he says, like, the strongest driving force for a human being is need to be consistent with their identity. So if you're like, I'm a poor communicator, I can't talk to people, I'm shy, blah, blah, blah. Now, this isn't talking about extroverts or introverts. Like, it's okay if you need more space away from people at times than others. I know I do sometimes, right? But it's like, if you identify as someone who's got no social skills, how are you going to act? You're going to act as a person with no social skills. There's times I've done this unconsciously, that I just happened to be invited on a couple of socials, started chatting to more people, and I created a story in my head that I'm really good at socializing with people. And I didn't used to have that story. And I didn't even realize I was doing this, but it actually made me want to socialize more because I kept identifying with it. You keep saying you're bad with your health and your diet and your discipline. Guess what? You keep acting in that way. So identify yourself consciously as someone who's good socializing, but obviously take the actions alongside, because you keep telling yourself you're good at socializing and you never socialize, you're not going to do it. But if you keep telling yourself you're bad, you're not going to do it, you're less likely to do it. So look at that story, and if you're struggling for evidence, think of times when you've got on with someone and all those kind of things, because the brain can forget the positives. So start doing that a little bit more as well. And then number 5, you've got to work on the communication with yourself. This, I could have put that at number 1, but I thought I'd leave it as the most important one for the end. If you can't have communication with yourself, it is going to reduce your ability to communicate with others in your life. Journaling, meditation, breath work is a key communication one for me, because I can go into a deeper part of myself than I can in other times. So make sure you're communicating with yourself on a regular basis as well, in whatever format and tool you choose to do for that one. So that's a really, really important one. I'm going to do a big challenge on Sunday. I am going to sit in silence. This is going to be terrifying. And I've skydived, walked on fire, all these kind of things that took a lot of courage, right? Done lots of sales calls, all these kind of things, right? But this is the most terrifying thing I think I've done, is sitting in silence with myself for 4 hours in a room. No journaling, no phone, no music, me and myself. How many people do that? Very rare. But I was challenged by one of my coaches to do it. But that is going to create a new level of relationship with myself. So that's something I would strongly guide you to do as well, invite you to do. You don't have to do 4 hours, but just give yourself maybe 20 minutes, and I'll update you how the 4 hours went on a future episode. But just give yourself 10 minutes minimum, sit in silence, no phone, absolutely no phone, no music, you can, if you want, you can have a journal, but keep technology out of the room, undisturbed for 10 minutes, not even going for a walk, just stay in a room for 10 minutes and see what comes up. 20 minutes if you can, that's even better. I've done that before, 20 minutes, and the insights that come to me are like, wow, amazing. So that's what I've got for you today in terms of communication skills for men in your relationships. So number 1, know your non-negotiables. Number 2, live what you want. Like those non-negotiables, you got to live it as well. Number 3, develop all your communication skills in whatever way you can. Just texting all the time is not a load of communication. So make sure you're out there talking to people, not randomly talking to every stranger you see, but opportunities you get to communicate. Number 4, be aware of your identity. If you keep saying you're bad at talking to people, you're going to continue to be bad talking to people. And nobody likes the victim mentality. So snap out of that. Number 5, just to be blunt about it, because I used to be the same. Number 5, work on that relationship with yourself every single day. Find something that you're going to build a connection. You have 10 minutes a day to work on a relationship with yourself, whatever situation you live in, right? So that's what I got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. And remember to lead with your heart and not in fear.